There once was a story about a man who could turn invisible. I thought it was only a story, until it happened to me.
You're safe. You're at the agency.
So this is it, the first episode of The Invisible Man, the pilot. So let's take a look at the summary and what we're about to talk about in this episode. Facing life in prison for a crime he didn't commit, thief Darian Fawkes agrees to an experimental surgery that implants a synthetic quicksilver gland into his brain. This gland secretes a light-bending substance, rendering him invisible. However, with regular injections of a counter-agent, the quicksilver causes irreversible insanity. After terrorists attack the laboratory and kill his scientist brother, then steal the project data, Darian's only access to this sanity-saving counteragent is through the ultra-secret, underfunded government intelligence agency known as, well, the Agency, which officially operates under the Department of Fish and Game, for now. In exchange for the drug and clean slate, Darian is forced to become an operative for the agency, using his new power of invisibility to fight crime and stop terrorists. Now, let's talk to the cast and let's find out more. So here we are. This is the Invisible Man Rewatch podcast, the agency as it were. And for everybody that's watching this, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. As you can tell, my name is Ed Pogue. This is Mike McCafferty, and we have Vincent Ventresca, stars of the show. Welcome, gentlemen. And we are going to go through every episode of the Invisible Man series, one by one. And a little later on in the episode, we're going to be joined by Paul Ben Victor. You know him as Bobby Hobbs. He's going to stop in from time to time, and hopefully we can get some more actors from the show, directors, writers, creator. We're going to see how that goes. And then we're going to, you, the fans, we need to have you watching this, telling your friends, sending in your questions and comments. Now, if you're thinking, what about the Invisible Man? Where do I find the Invisible Man? Okay. Everybody knows what Roku is. You may not have a Roku TV, but Roku is everywhere. It's on the internet, and it could be on your TV. It could be on a little box that you have sitting on your grandma's shelf. I don't know. Either way, you dial it up on the Roku, you go to the Roku channel, and you search for Invisible Man. And you're going to see the key art for it. It's going to be a picture of a silver guy standing in a women's shower. For some reason, that's the picture they're using. And you want to click on it and you want to watch it. Now, you got to be careful because the first episode they're going to have listed is not the first episode. That's actually the second episode. So what you want to do, you want to watch pilot. Then go back up one and then go back down. Look up if you have to, we'll help you with the order. You send me an email, I'll send you the list. All right. Now, you're looking to find more about the show and you want to follow us, be sure you're following everything on social medias. We are on Instagram. We are on Threads. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. And all of those links are below and on screen. Gentlemen, let's talk about the pilot.
Let's do it.
All right. 1999, I think, is when we started shooting it. Matt Greenberg, when did you first hear about this, the pilot or the show?
Like any audition, it was this appointment for this new series. It was for the Sci-Fi Channel. Sci-Fi Channel. It was for the 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 Sci-Fi Channel. we got scripts delivered in the old days, like you'd show up and it'd be outside your door. And I remember reading it thinking, I loved it. I loved the tone. I thought this will sound awful, but I knew I was going to get the part. I was like, when you read stuff and you're just like, dude, this is me. This is me. This is me. This is me. And it just felt easy. And so I had a certain amount of confidence that when you're a young actor, you're crazy. Like you don't know if you're delusional or arrogant or confident or really plugged into what you can do. So it was just an audition, like any job.
Well, I know I'm glad you got it. Mike, how about you? What was your audition process for the show? I mean, did you know that you were going to be Eberts?
Well, I wasn't originally. I wasn't originally the part, but my wife Sarah, she was the casting director down in San Diego, and so she got the script and she knew that it was coming down the pipe. And I had read the whole show, and there's a role of a guy who he's one of the scientists who smashes up one of the computers so that Arno doesn't get
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
And that was the one that my wife said, I think you should read for that. It's like, I really, there's this character Eberts. I really kind of, and she's like, no, they're going to cast up in LA. And I went and I read it. I read for Breck down in San Diego, and then my wife, to her credit, and she wasn't my wife back then, but she said, "Do you want to see him for Eberts?" And Breck said, "Yeah." And so I read it, didn't hear anything about it, but kind of like Vinny, and again, I couldn't stop thinking about that role. And I remember, I'd be in the shower and I'd be practicing the lines still. Like 6 weeks after, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? I didn't get the role. They gave it to one of Adam Sandler's friends. And then at the last moment, he dropped out. Matt looked at the tape, said he's the guy. And like 2 days later, there I was. So, with Vinny and Eddie and in the Spreckles building in downtown
Wait a
San
minute.
Diego.
You were not the first. You were not the first guy that got the part. I didn't know
No,
that.
no, there was a
Who
guy.
was Sandler's friend?
I'll have to look him up.
And why was it Sandler's friend? Like who? How is he connected to this? Like
I,
you just.
he was some guy. He had a little bit of heat because he'd been in a couple of Sandler's
Oh,
shows,
okay, okay.
and like Sandler always puts him in stuff. He like
Oh, I
Sandler
got you.
puts everybody, all his friends in
All
there. So
right.
like, oh, this guy. So he was going to be slotted into it. But then I think another project that Adam Sandler was doing came up, and he's like, well, I'm going to go do this instead. So at the last minute, they just said, hey, I looked at the tape. This guy Mike, he's great. Let's put him in. And
But you were still doing the lines even when you thought you had not gotten the part.
isn't that the weirdest thing? Like I couldn't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't let it go. I just remember sitting in the shower and scared
I,
me breath
I,
and get it. So I mean, like I still know the lines because like I worked on, and then it happens. Like, yep, there it is. So
it's
See,
perfect.
that's trivia that I couldn't even find on the internet.
I never even heard of it. Like, and I do think that there's a certain amount of fate involved in casting. Like actually maybe that's the only way I can kind of like not go crazy being an actor. It's like I always think if you're the guy, nobody can beat you. And it feels like you well, actually it sounds like somebody beat you, but that guy beat himself.
well, it's probably an offer too. I imagine it was an offer as well. But like to your point, Vinny, also like sometimes I'm sure you do auditions now. It's like I didn't get it, but they made the wrong choice. Like that's what I think. Like there's a different universe where they made the right choice and it was me. You
Right,
have to think that,
right,
otherwise you go crazy.
right,
So,
right,
but
right.
back then that was only like my third or fourth role on TV. So I was like, hey man, I'm just gonna go for it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy. And then
it's
when I didn't know who Eberts was until, I showed up for that scene. We hadn't met before that day, had we?
you know what
And
we might have we did. Do you remember that Ed Letting had a table read in San Diego? This is the funniest thing. There was a table read. And he's like, yeah, we should have a table read because Ed Letting was the line producer and it is basically one of the unsung heroes of this show. Just so you guys know, if you see Ed Letting on the credits, when everything was going to fall apart, Ed kept it together.
We got to reach out to Ed. Is he around?
I'll ask Sarah. Will
I'll try too. I'll see if I
yeah,
can find him.
but he said let's have a table read. And a table read is like where all the cast comes in, they read the script, but it's always optional. And so nobody came down because it's in San Diego. So I think it was you, me, and like a couple of other like day players. Just and so it was really funny. So like Ed's reading all the parts with you, and it was kind of a bit of a mess. It was like a hot mess. And then the next day we shot.
Oh,
It was the day
Yeah.
right. Eddie wasn't there.
I think Eddie, he might have been there. He might have taken the train down. He might have been late. I'm not sure. Maybe he came in halfway through or something like that. But it might have
Yeah.
been you, me, Eddie, and then like two scientists or something, because it was
Wow.
just because they're all local hires. Like, yeah, I'll show up. Why not? So,
Yeah.
but it was a very sad table read. But that's when we first met. But I was like, and then we worked the next day.
and going back to the character that you possibly were going to get, your wife was asking you to read for that was smashing with the axe and stuff. Not for nothing, but that character was a bit of a hero. If you think about it, he knew he was a goner, and he was willing to sacrifice himself to take out that computer to save Kevin. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking that's an unsung hero there. That was he wasn't just a scientist. He was a guy that was like, all right, this is for the greater good, and that was a good character.
His name is Jason D. Smith. I watched the credits at the end because he's not listed. San Diego actor. He was really good too. He was like
He
he
was
had the
great.
action. He's like, go, go, I got this.
No,
Go.
it
Yeah.
was a super heroic moment. Like it
Yeah.
was. I, Ed, I had missed. There's a few characters there's such a kindness. Jeremy, the guy who played
Jeremy Roberts.
Wicklow.
Yeah,
Like
he
wow,
clove.
Wicklow. He's fantastic, and that guy also was fantastic.
Yeah.
Where yeah, the idea of sacrifice for the greater good.
One of the biggest surprises for me was seeing what's his John Polito, I think is how it's
Oh,
pronounced. He played Eddie the Mammoth. I had completely forgotten that he was even in the show, that episode. And like for me, like I see him, I think The Crow. I think about moreover, I think about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because he popped up late in his career on there with Danny DeVito, and it's like it kind of took me out for a second. I'm like, I forgot he was there. And I think that was kind of a boon for you guys to have him in that role.
What's the Coen Brothers movie? Is it Raising Arizona or
Yeah, but yeah,
is
he
it?
wasn't in Raising Arizona. He was in it was it Barton Fink or I know what you're
what?
talking about, but he was
Oh,
in one of
okay.
those. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
and
so
and
great.
oh my God, he's fantastic. I
Sadly, he
don't.
passed away in 2016. But yeah,
I
definitely,
I
they're not a bad role.
I met him. First of all, he also did the Chronicle down at Stu Segall. So he did a
That's
year of
right.
that. And I met him up at the Greek restaurant on Ventura Boulevard, Vinny. The
Uh,
It's called like the Greek. We were up there,
no.
and this is like 2014, and I saw him, and I was like, John, hey, you probably don't remember this, but like there was a show called Invisible Man, and you did the pilot, and he was like, oh yeah, I love that show. Oh man, oh, I really wish I could have been in that. He remembered it. Like he's done so many things. He did like hundreds of
Yeah.
shows, and he was
Yeah.
so bummed out he didn't get a chance to be in it. It's like, yeah, I played a doctor, and Vinny was great, and
Oh
like
my God.
15 years later, he was still like name checking that off. So great actor, great guy.
There was a couple other like you mentioned Jeremy Roberts, of course. Surprisingly, like I remember him being a bigger part of the series going on, but he was only in 3 episodes, and that just kind of blew my mind. I remember back in the early days, like when the boards were up and stuff, he was actively chatting with us and the fans and stuff. And
Oh,
I
wow.
believe he had some health issues at one point, and that kind of went away. And I don't really see much of him anymore. It was always nice, because he was in Star Trek, so I always got a kick out of that too. But someone else that kind of disappeared was the character of Casey. Um, and it was like she was there, and then I need to get to episode 2, and we will get to episode 2 obviously, but like I don't remember how she was written out and how that went away. So I'm
They
looking
didn't do
forward
it.
to that.
I don't. Okay, well, I won't spoil it for you then.
Yeah, don't
Like it
you
was.
know we'll get to that one next week.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I tried to look her up too. I can't find her. She stopped acting, I think after this, to be honest. So, did you
I
test with other actresses, Vinny, for that or?
I did. God, I had not thought of that forever. Yeah, yeah. Um. Oh my God, I could kind of remember them. One of them had a pretty great career. Um. The other one was Salinger, who's married to that comedian, um, Meredith Salinger. Who's she
Oh,
married to?
she's married to oh goodness gracious.
The comedian dude.
Yeah, yeah, he's hold on a second. Honey.
Oh, Patton Oswalt.
Yes,
She's married
Patton
to Patton
Oswalt. Thank
Oswalt.
you. Never mind.
She tested for it, and then the other one, God, she had a pretty good career. I can't think of one. She had a few shows. I can't remember. But then, who was the woman who played Casey? What was her name?
Rebecca Chambers.
Yeah, Rebecca Chambers. And then I think Mike's right. I mean, come on, it's a brutal business, right? Because she was
Yeah.
great. I thought she was terrific. Um, I just think they didn't. I mean, again, I think Paul and R's relationship kind of took over the show,
Yeah.
and
Well, and I'm glad
and
for it.
Paul, well, and Paul's relationship, God, because just watching the pilot, Paul's relationship with the official is fantastic too. Like there's years and years baked into their relationship, and then obviously Eberts' relationship with the official, the relationships took over, and I think it just felt like it the fun was going to be had there as opposed to having this guy have a girlfriend. I think
I think
right?
They did. Oh,
the
they did with Star
Eberts.
Trek.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, Captain Kirk. There was a yeoman Rand who was going to be his love interest,
Yeah.
and I think they were kind of like, I mean, you being single and having the opportunity to date multiple people, I think that was much more interesting than you just being, committed to this woman and trying to convince her that you've changed. She never sees you turn invisible, like not once in the show.
Right, right.
Like it is absolutely a mystery. Like she just probably thinks you're crazy. So you just have a tumor in your head.
To that
Exactly.
credit, though, she did see the red eyes, and I had a question about the red eyes. I mean, obviously, at some point they are contact lenses, but in this pilot, it's as if they were different versions. Like one maybe a contact lens, one kind of looked like it might have just been effects, but then there was another one, like specifically in the scene in the hospital when you are trying to change for Casey. It was almost like it was real, like bloodshot eyes. How did they go about that?
I Mike may remember this more than me, but I think there were like a bunch of lenses that were different stages, and they were like slightly mad, a little more mad, fucking crazy, like going Quicksilver madness mad. And I think that I think uh, they just were different levels of how close I was to Quicksilver madness.
There was a
One,
guy who on set, it might have been the props guy who had the contacts for you, and
mm,
they were painful on you, Vinny. I mean, I remember one time they had to you had to go to see optometrists to get them like refitted because they were causing you so much discomfort.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. I can't remember if this, again, I was like 35 years old, and I was kind of, you can use, it's not like what Jeremy Strong's doing where he doesn't drop his accent, but sometimes as an actor you kind of use the circumstance to kind of play it more. And whenever those fucking contacts came out, I would feel like I was going mad before I put them in. And then because it was like like I wasn't sure if my hands were clean enough, and they were always like, and I was trying to get them in quick so we could get the shot. Like it wasn't it was not pleasant to put those contacts in and then take them out, and there were kind of problems with it. But you can ask Mike. I wasn't always the most pleasant person to work with, and part of that was me using the circumstance in order to kind of it's kind of embarrassing now, but sometimes you use the circumstance to tap in to try to make it more real. If that makes sense.
Well, if I can't speak to what was going on, but I will say it played well. I mean, it put you into a really good frame of mind for what the character was, and it made it believable. And I can imagine the contacts were painful. They looked painful.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
It definitely does not look great. I do want to kind of switch gears. I want to give David Burke a little bit of talk about your brother Kevin, and I think David Burke himself. Amazing actor. I'm a big fan of The Tick. I was so glad that he had that when he played Arthur on there. But this happened before The Tick, so it was kind of one of those things like he left the show and it's only 3 appearances. Still another one of those blows my mind because I feel like he's such a huge part of the character. You feel like he's there. How is it working with David?
Well, we're better friends now. We're friends now.
Okay.
And I loved working with David. I mean, David was so up for rehearsing. I was really into rehearsing. Like anytime that we could work off camera and sort of run stuff. And David's just an incredible human being. Like I don't know if you know him, Mike, at all, but he's just a very, very he's like, you can't believe what a good human being is. He's married to Jeannie Bacharach, and we sort of became friends. God, I'm trying to remember how we became friends. I guess from The Invisible Man, and then we had dinner a couple of times. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we met at a function, and we sort of hit a mutual friend of ours. Tim Amundsen from. Do you guys know who Tim Amundsen is from Psych?
Not personally, but I follow him online and definitely
Oh,
love his
so
work. Big fan of Psych.
so Tim and I are really good friends. Like the first television pilot I ever did was Tim and I. We did a doctors series the same year that ER and Chicago Hope came out. Tim and I were on a medical series for the Fox network called Medicine Ball, and Tim Tim lives next to Jeannie and David. Jeannie and David are married, and we met at a function for Tim, and we kind of hit it off, and then we started hanging out. So I got to know David, just kind of in the last 5 years. But working with him on this back then, I just remember thinking how great he was. Like he had we I was like, do we seem like brothers? I don't know if we looked like brothers, but we felt like brothers, and we did have this kind of, again, it felt like this chemistry that he was the good boy and I was the bad boy. But he's incredible. I should have called him actually. Now that I'm understanding what it is, maybe I'll be able to reach out to more people, and we can have David later because he is in 3. And you, to your point, Ed, you the sense of Kevin Fawkes kind of fills the whole show, because the whole point was he did this thing and I'm trying to get it out. And then when he re-showed up, Brothers Keeper, which we'll get to down the road, I think is still my favorite episode.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like we've established the format here, and we can always, if they want to come on, they got limited time. We can do it really quick, cut it in. It'll work. Now, Joel Bissonette, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Arnaud the Thin, hell of a villain. Watching this for the first time with my wife, she was never seen it. I don't think she picked up that he was the villain, and I love that. She had a genuine surprise. She was really upset with Kevin dying, which I gotta say, I don't think she saw it was coming. So shout out to my wife on that one. But what was it like working with Joel? You have that contention, and it was so well done.
That was the scene, the little prick scene, where we're kind of sizing each other up and he's shooting me with the needle. That was that was my audition scene.
Oh,
So when I finally got to do it with Joel, again, I kind of act in a weird place because I am most just trying to make it seem believable, but I also am watching. Like, I remember thinking how great he was. I just thought he was great. And he had such a weird, there was such a weird sort of like kindness, but also something kind of mysterious about him. And Joel was just a funny motherfucker, like in between takes and stuff. Like he was very dry and obviously very bright. Um, uh, what's he doing? Has anyone?
a few roles here and there. I think 2016 was the last time I saw anything on his IMDb.
Mm. I remember he'd always show up with his dog
Yeah.
remember that? He like have his dog in the big old German Shepherd, and he was kind of like he's a little bit of like a like Northern California, hey man, how's it going? Just like
Yeah.
real easy going,
Yeah, no, he did. He seemed like he was. Um, was he from California or was he really foreign? Or did it?
No, I think
How many?
he's American. I mean,
How many episodes did he do?
like six,
He
maybe
did 8.
eight.
He did
All right.
8. Yeah.
The thing when I was rewatching this, and I've always thought about this, is that he plays this French Swiss, just Swiss German guy with the accent, and then when he's talking to Casey as the FBI agent,
Southern.
he adopts a southernish accent, but with still some of his vowels are still shaped towards like a European slang. It's really interesting. I've always thought about that. Like no one would ever pick up that. But I listened to it, it's
Yeah.
like Dr. Claire, Dr. Casey O'Clair.
Yeah.
It's just the
Yeah.
littlest things he'd
Yeah.
say, and it was so practiced. And I don't know if that was an accent or not, but it was really good.
Was he not French Canadian? Or I mean, maybe I just.
He might be Canadian, but I don't know if. But when he just talked like a regular dude. He's like, "Hey man, how's it going?"
That's true. That's true.
I loved when he was pretending to be the CIA agent. He introduced himself to the Casey character as Agent Griffin, and that was a reference to the H.G. Wells character, the Invisible Man from H.G. Wells, and it was subtle. And that's kind of like when you were at the Spider Taco shop with Hobbs. I had never noticed the H.G. Wells poster hanging there until watching it this time. I was like, how many times have I seen this? And I thought, but I got a kick out of it.
It's huge in the background too, and I hadn't seen it either.
It's so to watch the show now in the big screen, and this is still like it's not like an HD, I don't think. Although we shot in 16 and we shot in the aspect ratio. Do you remember that?
Right.
Vinny, you told me that. Like, we're shooting instead of shooting 32, we're shooting in 16 with 2 cameras, but we're also going to shoot in widescreen. But you see so much more.
The Roku is 4:3 aspect ratio, but the DVD, if you get the Region 1 DVD of Season 1, 16:9.
Is it? Oh.
Yes, it is.
Why don't they air that? They can't do the 16:9 ratio on the Roku.
They could if they had it. I don't know why they're choosing that, but the DVDs, like I said, 16:9 looks really, really sharp, specifically on an upscaled Blu-ray player. It's a sharp looking show.
Wow.
So, and a lot better quality than watching it on Roku. I'm just saying, like, not everybody's going to have the physical media, but it is really readily available in the secondary market. It's super cheap. I had I had like 3 copies at one point, and I started gifting them to people. Like, you got to check this out, and so I
I
don't know
Oh
if
I
that
had
wow.
a dream last night. I'm just remembering this now. Speaking of the size of the screen and the aspect ratio, Vinny, I had a dream because I've seen so much more like that thing. I had a dream we were walking away from a scene, and I just started like posing really weirdly because I knew it was so far out of frame you'd never see it like on a regular TV.
Yeah.
And like I was watching one of these big screens, like, oh shit, oh no. Like I was so embarrassed that like I was
Because you
goofing
were
around.
because you were in the frame and you thought you were out of frame.
Yeah, because I was thought like, man, we're so far back, and I'll just be like 5 pixels, and who cares? But like now on the big screens, oh, it was so embarrassing. And you were there, but like I think you were still acting, so you were.
well,
I
that's
think-
that's like going back to Friends. You know, like if you go back and you watch Friends, like when Friends was first out on DVD, I'm looking at it now. My son would watch them, and they were 4:3, and they came out on Blu-ray, and they were 16:9. You can see the booms. You can see like
Wow.
scenes where like it was supposed to be, the Monica character, but it was her stand-in. And
Oh
you're like,
wow.
well, that's definitely not Monica. And so many different things. Even Star Trek, to its credit, I noticed on a Deep Space Nine, it was not Worf. They had Michael Dorn was supposed to be there, and they had someone just dressed up as a Klingon supposed to be him. And TVs now, the way it brings it out, you're looking at it going, well, that's not Michael Dorn, and it's so. The older shows are not. Sometimes they don't lend themselves well to the technology. So.
Wow.
well, and back then too, because I don't think, I mean, we were shooting it in like 16 by 9, but like there was always times when it'd be like, how's it look for HD or how's it look for widescreen? And they're like, it's fine. Because like no one, this was like 2000.
Yeah.
No one expected the screens to become what they are now. They were just going to be big tubes. But whoever decided to shoot that was really smart.
Yeah.
Because if it ever gets redone, like we ever blow it up, we've got it. So or put on the DVDs. So
Yeah, well, I think Breck was kind of a film geek that way, and he'd worked with, I think it's Neil Shapiro was the DP
mm,
who had done. I mean, this is my memory. He'd done mostly commercials,
yeah.
so it was a big opportunity for him to do a long form piece, and I remember him taking quite a bit of time. Uh, I just remember the lenses. There's different colors on the pilot. I don't know, oftentimes it looks
Oh
kind of
yeah.
brown.
You could tell when you're in Mexico.
Yeah, yeah,
It
and they
gives it
were
that yellow hue.
they kept cleaning those lenses because they had to keep putting them in front of the lens. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just like hit a button and get the same effect with that lens. But yeah, and Mike, we shot it, didn't we shoot it on 35 and the series was on 16?
Yep. Yep. That's what, yeah.
Yeah,
So we shot on the 35 for the pilot. And
yeah.
then, because I remember you telling me, like, when we started doing this episode, she's like, no, no, it's good. We're going to shoot on 16 because that way we'll have 2 cameras. And then we can shoot quicker and get more coverage. Because if we were shooting on 35, it was too expensive to have 2 cameras. The film was too expensive.
Wow.
So we shot 16, smaller film, but we got an extra camera to get more coverage. So,
Still
Yeah,
look really good.
well, the
yeah.
pilot looks beautiful. I mean, Breck, I
Yeah.
mean, that
Gorgeous.
first 15 or 20 minutes is some of the most engaging television, even watching it 2 days ago. I mean, it just cooks and it's so beautiful and just the pacing so great. Oh man.
The attention
Yeah.
to detail as well. Something as simple as the what's it called? The rolling thing when he's getting out of the van and there's a tumbleweed
Oh
as
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just the tumbleweed itself. It's a great attention to detail of here we are, we're in the middle of nowhere, and I loved it. I
No, I agree
really
with
do.
you that there's a specificity to the pilot that is so deliberate and thoughtful, and I think it was an important thing for Breck. I think this was like his first big thing out of film school, so it was his introduction to long form as well.
He filmed so much. He filmed like because you said that, because
Oh
like
yeah,
I mean, I didn't know any better, but like we filmed that first scene so many times, so much coverage. It was,
yeah. Well,
but
that may have been me a little bit too. Like he often said that it took me like 8 takes before I started doing it, kind of relaxing into it a little bit.
Okay, that's like probably before maybe Paul showed up into the world, because I think Paul, kind of gave you
Well,
that
Paul,
permission not to have so much
yeah,
weight on your shoulders, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well, Paul, yeah, I think so. I think that's right. I felt like I had a partner. Yeah, I felt alone kind of until Paul showed up, and then we were in it together. Because you guys, you got I was leery of the agency, obviously, right? Like I felt totally manipulated by them, and so I had no, I really didn't have anybody until I got that partner.
the first episode, Eddie has more status. I mean, he's pulling all the strings, and he does throughout the series. But once you and Paul get together, it's more of a status shift sometimes, where like he's like, what are you guys doing? What's going on? But that the first pilot, he knows what's going on, and he's a lot more in control. But then once you guys get in there, it's so much more of a more fun dynamic where he's
Yeah,
so flustered all the time.
He
yeah,
was the catalyst for one of my favorite dated references, and it was the phone call when you were calling the official from Mexico, and he's like, "Are you calling me on the cell phone? Do you know how much this cost?" And I just thought to myself, "Oh man, that's so dated." Anybody watching it like younger would be like, and that's like the Star 69 reference,
yeah,
and like people are
yeah.
like probably thinking, "What's Star
I
69?" You
know.
know?
So
Oh, it was so specific to 2000. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I loved about it.
Oh,
it
and
was such a
AOL.
great line though. In the time it was, will you star 69 reality? That's such a great line. And
Yeah,
26 years later, it's like, well,
yeah, yeah.
Eddie was a second choice too. He was not first choice for this. There was somebody else who was going to play the role, and then they dropped out, and Eddie had to fly in from Europe to jump into the role too. So there was a lot of
Wow. I
yeah.
think it may have been Ronnie Cox, right? No, that's
Wait.
oh no, no, Ronnie Cox was not Paul's part. It was the official.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
I'm just
that
okay.
makes
I'm just
sense for
remember.
age. I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm remembering it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Ronnie Cox. Wow.
You got a Ronnie Cox action figure right here.
There you
Oh, look at
go.
that. Wow.
Whoa. That's amazing. That's so cool, Ed.
That yeah, so
Yeah.
he dropped out at the
That's
last
it.
minute, and
That's
then
it. That's it. Yeah, it wasn't Hobbs. It was the official. That's right.
amazing. Oh wow. So this is great, man.
See,
Dick
that
Jones
it
from
would have been a
RoboCop.
completely different show. Hey, I mean, not that the official didn't give off the authority, but Ronnie Cox, man, he can put some fear in you.
Yeah. No, he's
He
incredible.
yeah, but I mean, because we saw him in RoboCop, he would have been smarmier and more cerebral, and I think probably like he would have pushed you a lot more.
Yeah.
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 Where Eddie was more content to kind of sit back. He always had the secrets way in the back, way in the back of the chest. Like if I need to, I can pull this out. But he didn't have to do a lot. It's so great.
Yeah. And again, there was a certain amount of fate to him playing the part because you're right. Ronnie Cox it would have been the show had this world that held fun and kind of goofy and reality, but then it did become this family. And Ronnie, I don't know if Ronnie Cox would have it felt like Ronnie Cox, it would have been a different show, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it would have been incredible, but I don't think it might not have been quite as fun as
There's
Young
some
Stuff.
alternate universe out there where, it's me and Vincent and one of Sandler's friends doing this show right now, and we're trying to figure out how to get a hold of Ronnie Cox.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh man, this has
Well,
been fun. I think this was a really good start. This was a really good start for the pilot, and a good thing. I um, I do want to do a quick segue that we've got Paul joining us, so we're gonna cut to that, and let's hear what Paul has to say.
Let's do it. there's that classic scene where we meet, at that outdoor like
That's
bazaar.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we go to have lunch, and you're talking to me about Arafat. Like it's crazy. I mean, well, I'll shut up. I want to talk
No,
about.
no,
Let's.
this is good. I'll cut it in later. Like, since Paul's on a time constraint, I'll
I'm
go. I'll,
sorry. Yeah, I
no, no,
gotta
it's fine.
do this thing
I
Dude,
can
dude,
before I
edit
fall
this
asleep.
in, and this will be at the end, but I can cut it in. No one's gonna know. The one thing I really caught that I never knew when you first are meeting up in Mexico and you're handing each other the half cards and stuff, and it's kind of a funny thing. The I am Foreman that was written on the card. Do you guys know where that came from?
no.
It's
Okay,
Doctor Who. It's
it is.
yeah.
It's Doctor Who. It was a reference to the junkyard, the owner of the junkyard where the TARDIS was in the first episode of Doctor Who. And as
Wow.
I'm looking at that, because when the show was on, I didn't watch Doctor Who, so I didn't get into Who for like, I don't know, 6 years later. And then I'm looking at it last night and I go, wait, I know that.
Yeah, well, that's all Matt Greenberg. I mean, I have to say, after rewatching it, God, that guy's. I mean, he wrote it obviously, but it's so. And I know Matt more now as a man because we're still friends. I'm like, oh my God, this guy was like this script. He put so much stuff like that into it. I think.
What's he up to, Vinny? Could we talk about what is he doing?
I don't. He's writing. He's just doing other projects. I've read so many incredible scripts that he's written that
Wow.
are in various stages of develop
Development.
development.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him pop up in the episode. That was something I didn't realize back then either.
He,
Um,
he was an
I didn't know.
actor. He was an actor first,
Oh,
and
see,
then
I,
Hmm.
he was at Actors. What is it? What it's in Louisville? Actors Louisville.
Actress
It's
Actress Theater Louisville. Yeah.
Actors Theater of Louisville, like a great repertory, and he was doing an internship there, and
Wow.
um, and then he was writing some stuff, and someone was like, one of the directors there was like, "You're a good writer," and so he kept going that way. But yeah, no, he was an actor first, then got encouraged to write, and then started down that road.
that's great. I'm glad he did.
Where
I
did you guys where did you guys shoot all that stuff in Mexico? Where was that? Was that in Mexico?
Tijuana, wasn't it, Vinny?
TJ, TJ,
really.
TJ.
yes, and Stu Siegel had studios down there. He had
Yeah.
it was like some kind of abandoned studio, really like weird vibe, but yeah, it was just across the border.
I tried
You
to
Okay.
remember?
find shooting locations. I couldn't find anything. I'm glad you said that.
Do you remember the studios, Vinny?
I don't. There can't be too many down there.
No,
I
I mean,
mean,
do you remember shooting this down there other than
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. Don't you remember the shitty little hotel we were staying on the border? And we
no?
would. Oh my God, it was just this. It was just like not a great little motel right on the border, and like phone service was shaky, and I'd been down there for a while, and then you showed up, and we had drinks down. We had drinks down like in this little. It was
Little
shitty.
bodega.
Yeah, little little nasty little cafe in the courtyard of the motel.
Did you
Oh,
guys ever get
that's
sick
coming
off
back.
the food or the water, or was it cool?
Oh no, no, we watched everything. Like because yeah, I mean, I can't remember. Did I can't remember. Did we must have shot in San Diego and then went to TJ? I'm pretty sure.
The first thing we
Wow.
shot was in the Spreckles building. Yeah, that was. I think we were day one. I think.
We were day one in that crazy long room. That room was so long and so it worked so great. And I was so pissed off when we went to series because it felt like they didn't make it long enough because I loved how long it was.
Yeah, huge, huge long. It was part of a bank at one point in time. So,
Hmm.
But
but
since Paul doesn't have a ton of time, let me jump to
yeah,
one thing I want to say. So I just rewatched it, Paul, and it's what's like a 90-minute pilot, I think, and you show up with 30 minutes left. Completely changes the show. For me, it
Yeah.
completely it just gave the show a world and a tone and a feel that it was it was really good until then. I mean, it was certainly a little I don't know. I mean, remember it was 1999, 2000. So it had this kind of weird charm. I can't say that I wasn't really. I loved how kind of silly's not the word, goofy's not the word, but it did have. I mean, Greenberg wrote it with funny stuff in it, and Breck Eisner directed it almost without any. He was not interested in any of the comedy landing, is what it felt like to me. And that actually gave it this great tone. So it was I was playing it sort of straight, overly serious, but then there were these ridiculous lines. I mean, before my brother gets killed, they open the thing and he and I look at each other and go, "Oh crap." And then my brother gets mowed down. So it was just like, wow, how did that work? And I don't think it would have worked. This is the truth. I don't think it would have worked for the whole series. And then you showed up and I mean, you were just funny. You're so fucking funny, Paul. You should rewatch it. And dude, you were looking hot as shit. Like you were such a sexy beast. You were such, it's so, you really should watch it. You just just zoom in like 60 minutes when you show up and you don't leave anything left unmilked. Like you milk everything, man. But it was
Unmilked.
but then I was still kind of playing things serious. But then all of a sudden you gave me something to hit, and it that's where it felt like the series really became watchable for me.
Yeah, I remember just going, watch out, there's somebody behind the table. And yeah, right. Isn't that how it went? And I said, like, you better duck. They're gonna go duck. And you're like, what? And then they start shooting, right?
You see the terrorists over my shoulder, and you're like the seasoned pro that they've kind of hooked me up with.
But the funny thing about that is because you're right, Vinny. It is such a strong tonal shift when Paul shows up, and then it's kind of goofy because he's like, "Hey, there's some terrorists right over there," and like the first thing you see is this dude with like a weird eye.
It's it's a joke. Like it's literally Greenberg wrote like this joke. I look around to see this terrorist, and there's this dude that looks like a stereotypical cliche terrorist. And you go, no, not there, over there.
Oh, right,
and it's the two Canadian free Quebec nationalists, and they look like
by Jill Brown and Denny Pierce.
Come on, really? That's fantastic. Ed, how did you get that? How did you find that?
A lot of internet looking. So.
Wow.
Wait a minute. You know the actors' names? Is that what you just
Yes, is that incredible?
Rattled off?
And they're making out over in the corner of this little outdoor cafe where we're getting to know each other. And then all of a sudden,
were those guys stunt guys, or were they just like regular actors? They were firing guns and stuff. Do you guys remember?
I
think
don't know.
They were actors. They had other IMDb credits.
Okay.
But I have to say one of my favorite parts was Paul's first line. He goes, I wasn't just in Beirut, I was Beirut. And I was like, I'm always trying to figure out, like, what does that mean?
Yeah. No, but you get who he is. That I have to say, I thought about the writing a lot. Greenberg, he's really good. Like there's like I said, there's parts where you're kind of like, oh, that's a little goofy. Like Star 69 reality, man. Like there's stuff that almost makes you cringe, but then there's all these lines like, I wasn't only in Beirut, I was Beirut.
That was my line.
Yeah, was that a scripted line or did you make that up?
Scripted. I didn't make any of that stuff up.
Wow.
You were teetotaler in this episode, Paul. You were sticking to it.
Yeah, well, it was great writing. When I think back of the role, it was great. What a great part, as an actor, all of us. But I just dove into it. I didn't know what I was doing. I just dove in,
You have this really funny passage where, like, it's in the gunfight, and you're like, bum, 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 bum. All right, you're gonna have to go meet this guy down at the bar. Blah, 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 blah. The code word is blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. And then you turn and Vinny's just gone. You're doing this elaborate setup of how you're going to meet the next guy.
Right.
And then he pulls up like invisible in the tax cab. He's to get in. And then,
Who do you think it is? Yeah. He's like, who do you think it is?
You don't even know who he doesn't even know what special skill I have yet until then, right? Like that's when it's revealed to you.
Oh, okay. You disappear. Wow.
And then he reappears and you say, that's supposed to impress me. And then it's just such a great delivery.
I think he was still stuck on the fact that you were making more money than he was.
Well, that was an ongoing theme throughout my entire character. You know, it's like you always got, got the girl, got the money, got the higher G6, G4. What was my?
Darian had the G6, and you were a G4 because he's like, what are you, a G2, G1?
And I say G6, and then you do your tell where you start scratching your head, and then you pound the table, and that's where they realize it's us.
Vinny, so watching it, did you make that up? Like did Fox make that up, or did the official actually tell you it was G6?
I didn't make it up. It was in the script.
You know what I mean? Like it was the character when he was like, "What are you, G2, G3?" And you're like, "I don't know, something." Maybe said something like G6.
It was off screen though.
What do you mean? Did you thought I improvised that?
No. I'm asking, do you think Fox just threw out a number?
Oh yeah, no. He doesn't know what it means. Like
okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, like something. He doesn't know what the pay scale is. Like,
right.
No.
The one thing I have to say, the writing is great and everything else, but if it wasn't for the timing and the chemistry between the two of you, I don't think any of it would have really worked. And that was a really good introduction to not only your characters, but you as a duo. And I think it speaks well to anyone else. Not to be too hyperbolic about it, but I think it's a really good analogy for a duo in television, just in general.
Oh Ed, did I know this? Well, Paul can tell you. Paul had a lot of stuff going on. Like he was popping off a little bit, and I think he just did our show because it was the next thing to do, and I think this stuff's interesting. So I mean, and we didn't have Paul under contract. And I knew that, which is very unusual. Paul, do you want to tell the story? Or you want me to tell?
Well, you tell it because you know it better. I just know that I had just gotten Mo in the Three Stooges.
Oh.
And I just came back, and I know you guys had to wait a little time because I just came back, and it was a little bit of an overlap, and you waited a week or two. Remember, Vinny? You had to isn't that right? You don't remember that?
Yeah.
You guys waited a week, so I came back from Australia, did Mo, and I do remember that Adam Nimoy.
Yeah.
Didn't he do
Adam
one
Nimoy.
of the? Didn't he do one of the, like an
He did
early
Ralph,
one?
Yeah.
For
It
sure.
was it was an early one, right?
It was
I think the
episode
second.
3. Yeah. So it was the third
So
one.
I remember I was doing stuff like, "Hey, you get out of here!" And he went, "Paul, you're doing Mo," and I was like, "So?" He's like, "You can't do that." I was still doing Mo. Sometimes that happens. It sticks with you.
Well, I was scared. I was scared you weren't going to do the series. You remember that, right?
Well, yeah, I remember because
Paul had a party. So can I just give him the context? Normally with television, your series regulars, you lock down. You have when you
7 years.
They do it now. Yeah, you sign a 7-year contract, which has already been. They don't want to negotiate.
I don't know. Is this fair? Because I don't.
Paul said, "I'm not doing it." Paul said, "If you want
me," I said I don't want to do more than a year. I'm not doing the 7 years. I don't want to get locked down. That's true. I didn't want to get locked down.
I was scared you weren't going to do the first year.
No, I was definitely, and they weren't gonna. They didn't want to.
Oh.
They didn't want to sign me to 1 year. I was like, I'm in for a year. I just want to say, let's just see how a year goes, and that just ain't done. I don't know where I got my balls big enough to do. I really don't know where I got my balls big enough to do everything I did on that show.
Let's face it, you have very big balls.
Not anymore.
Well, why not? You should have them bigger. They should be bigger than ever. How's Jeremy Strong? How's Jeremy Strong doing? Is he doing okay?
He's got a big set of cojones, right? He's huge, huge balls.
Well, I'm sure your balls were. There were.
Cut this
Paul
out.
just finished.
Come on.
Paul just finished doing what'd you do, Paul? He just did
I just did a couple of episodes in Boys from Brazil, starring Jeremy Strong for Netflix. A 5 miniseries, five episodes. I just did a couple, but I worked with him the whole time, and he was terrific. Yeah, he was terrific. He stayed in character the entire time with an accent, the whole thing. Interesting.
geez.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that hard or is that easy?
It is. It's just, working with a good actor, a great actor. He was good. He was really serious, on point. He was terrific. It's wonderful. It was refreshing. I loved it. Yeah.
When you're done, did he break out of character and say,
No,
"Hey, Paul,
no,
really? Okay.
little bit. We did. But he stayed. He has an accent that he's doing, sort of a hybrid European kind of accent, Eastern European or something like that. But he actually told me. He said, I've stayed in this accent since December. I haven't gotten out of this accent. I can't. I'm like,
wow.
Whoa. When you go home, he goes, and yes, I stay in it the whole time. I have to. I can't. And I kind of know. I remember playing a mentally challenged guy once in a mini episode of a show, and I stayed for 10 days. I didn't leave because the character. I just stayed as this weird guy for 10 days because you kind of you're afraid to lose. You're afraid to stop. You're afraid something will leak out if you stop. I know that sensation, but he's been doing it since December. He hasn't stopped. It's crazy.
Wow.
But I think. But then, I think an accent like that is something you might do. Like Madonna moved to London, so she speaks London. It's like I get that. You're around it. If you have an ear that lends itself to going to accents and things, I think you can. It's not hard for that to happen. And if you're So he was wonderful. He was wonderful. Back to the Invisible Man. I don't remember why. I remember, I don't want to say Sci-Fi wasn't, I don't know. I think an agent or a manager of mine said, let's just do a year. I don't know.
Well, the truth is it was smart. You had leverage because back to my point, I think people saw where the series was going, and it really felt like when you showed up, it had legs. It had tone. I mean, you brought a shitload of you've been doing this a long time.
Well, but it was a good part. It was just a great part. It wasn't hard. You just showed up and it was funny. Yeah. So I ringed out, like you said, and didn't leave anything unmilked. That's a great one. It was funny. He had to be tough, dangerous, out of little, he's twisted out of it. It was a perfect role for me.
How many, Vinny, how many other, I mean, without names, how many other people did you test with?
They tested like 4 other guys. Ronnie Cox was in the running for a long time.
Ronnie Cox, really?
Yeah. I
mean, now Ronnie Cox.
Big. He was in RoboCop. Played what was his name? Dick something.
He's Dick Jones. He was in Deliverance.
Vinny, I never even considered that there was any. This is news to me. So there were other.
Dude, you tested. There were 3 other dudes, right? When that day
outside. Outside the room?
Outside the room. And all the other guys came in and they were great. And Greenberg says that it was going to be this other guy. And then Paul came in and you did ad lib the test.
Yeah. And then you told me that they said when I left, one of the executives said, this guy's never going to stick to the script. Right, Vinny? Well, somebody said that.
David Icke said, well, we all know who the best one was. I just don't know if you're going to get him to stick with the script. And they all knew it was you. But because I was laughing my ass off. Like I was right. Paul got up in my face.
Right.
Like it's just such a good move because physically we just sort of play together. So Paul like got up underneath me. So he's like I'm like looking here and he's like looking at me and I start laughing. I mean, I'm like I'm not good at staying in character. I'm like the opposite of Jeremy Strong. It was just really funny. And I mean, it's weird. Everyone knew that relationship was going to be the show. I just didn't know it. I didn't know how vulnerable I was. Like I just didn't think the show would go. I didn't think it'd get picked up if Paul didn't do the show. So I remember being scared, like, God, I hope this guy does it. But then I guess you said you would do it for a year, but then they were playing hardball with you, saying, "Oh, we're not going to do that." And then finally they said yes. I think is what happened.
Yeah,
Now,
I think Matt fought Matt. You, from what I understand from you, what I remember is what you told me. Matt said, I gotta go with these guys. It's these two guys. It's got to be." And they rolled the dice, and we ended up doing 55 of these, or 50, 45, 50 of these.
46. Well, how many? How many?
46 episodes,
46.
and then that's why I don't want to sort of get into this conversation, because it's sort of a downer, because then it didn't continue, and was that part of it, because the contract and all that crap.
I don't think
You
so.
could cut around this. You could cut around this. You could cut around this crap. This is sort of minutia.
No,
People
it
might be
wasn't. It wasn't you,
interested.
Paul. Yeah, it wasn't you. It was 9/11. That was a huge component of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was a lot of things going on around that time, and then it wasn't too far after that there was a writer's strike.
Yeah, but this isn't this. We don't want to promote this, like, why the all the minutia and the crap that why
no. Well,
it
I do have a
failed or
question.
didn't. This isn't what we want to promote. The good stuff, the new show.
I do have a good question though about the timing. When you filmed the pilot, how far did you have the pilot before you went to series? Like, how much time was there in between the pilot and the series order?
Wait a minute. Let me jump in here. Vinny, Mike, was it like 2 years later? Wasn't it? Was this that series?
No. I think we went to work pretty quickly
Right away, and then we didn't ever had a break. We did 46
we went.
straight.
Then we went 2 years. Yeah, we went like
Second season was only six. There was only a 6 week break between season 1 and season 2.
Wow.
That was the writer's strike that you're talking about, Paul. That's what crunched it. I think we shot in September, like September, October, and then the show got picked up in January, February, Vince, I think. Is that what it was?
I think that's right. And then we were shooting by when? May? Because we premiered.
April, May, I think is when it started.
Yeah, because we premiered. Didn't we premiere in
June 9th?
Oh,
July
okay.
9th. Oh, no, June 9th. You're right. Yeah, June 9th. Yep.
Yeah.
June 9th. Then we had to have started shooting April.
It was like April, I think.
Yeah.
That's a quick turnover.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty quick. And then it felt like it was pretty much 2 straight years.
Because my house is being remediated from the fires, which is a whole other story. But I've been down here for a year.
You guys know that Paul's house was very, very damaged by the Palisade fires.
Smoke damage. Yeah. So anyway, but I'm down here in the old stomping grounds, passing some of the old places. It's kind of interesting, There's just the street names. I'm like, whoa, I was here 25 years ago. Yeah. But
I'm glad you're here now. Paul had mentioned something about wanting to talk about the new show. Did you want to say anything on here about that, or are we keeping that still on the down low?
What do you think, Mike? I think we should talk about it, or do you think they're separate things?
Let's stay on track for right now with what this show is, because then we can always cross-pollinate later, I think. I mean, Vinny's got a great thing coming up, that's a great sci-fi idea, but this is its own thing right now. So
this is for the folks to get out there and like when you see those behind the scenes of per episode, So when I was I remember shooting on the corner. I remember Mexico. I remember Tijuana shooting in the streets. Breck was terrific, though, as a director, wasn't he, Vinny?
He was great. He was incredible. He's visually beautiful, and I did not have, it was pretty. I had done some stuff. I guess I actually had done.
How'd you get the job, Vinny? I read with you. I remember that day.
God, I don't know.
And did you win it over? You beat over a bunch of guys, I'm sure. But how did you?
All I know is I was the only one they tested, and Breck has really good stories about it, because I think I think my agent almost blew it over money or something. Oh, this is true. And Breck and Matt were going to use their own money. They were going to take money out of their money to give to me so that I would sign on.
Wow.
And I never knew that. And the network was, not gonna. I think it was, I don't know what it was, but Breck
I
was
thought I
having.
heard that you were the first guy in the door for the auditions, and they were like,
That's right. I was the first guy, and Matt was like, "Come on, it can't be that easy." And then they saw a bunch of guys, and then
it was it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I had a little. I was Fun Bobby on Friends, so I had those two.
Oh,
episodes.
that's right. That's right.
I think that gave me some kind of legitimacy. I don't know.
I think
maybe
if memory serves, were you not coming off of Prey at that time?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I had done a whole sci-fi series for ABC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a following at that time, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was me and Deborah Messing and Adam Stork. Adam Stork? Is that his name? Adam Stark. Stork.
That sounds right.
I'll go with Stork.
Yeah, I think it's Stork. Because he did a cameo. Remember later he did a cameo in The Invisible Man.
You let him out of a cell and like, hey, do we know each other? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, the kind of the wink at the camera type deal. I get you.
Exactly.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Adam Nimoy directing an episode. I need to reach out to Adam Nimoy, see if we can get him to come on here and talk about it, and see if he's willing to. Going through, just finding people. I got an entire list of people to try and ask. So.
And I can do that too. I can help you. I mean,
okay. Well, we'll get the list later.
A lot of this is me just sort of seeing the format, how we're going to do it, and understanding it, and then once people see it, also it'll be like this. Would you want to do something like that?
Yeah, it'll help once you have a visual explainer. It's like I tell people all the time. Like, have you watched the podcast? No. Well, that doesn't help. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. You got to see it.
I do have a question that we had from a fan, and while we have both of you here, I want to read it. It's that I asked people to start sending in questions. I had one person send 7 questions, but I'm going to pick one. And pretty much what they asked, they said, the interactions of creatives and their audience is fascinating to them, and one of the legendary aspects of The Invisible Man was the dedicated fandom. From letting people call in to decide a plot to the iManiacs themselves and the community going on, they ask, what stands out to you about the Invisible Man fan community at conventions or interactions that you've had with fans, and how that compares in other realms?
What?
Basically, have you had any good interactions with fans that was related to Invisible Man?
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sitting out here because my kid's sleeping, and now dogs are about to eat me. Wait a minute. Hold on.
That's gonna make terrible content if you get eaten.
No, that'd be great. Are you kidding? This would be legendary. Legendary.
Tell us, what was your shortened version of that?
Shortened version. Have you had any interactions with fans that have been memorable to you?
Oh, kind of in comparison to, related to Iman fans. Vinny?
Well, yeah, I have. I've had people that really stop me and are like,
oh, Fun Bobby, for sure.
No, for Invisible Man.
Oh, for this, yeah.
Yeah, like, and they're older now, but they were like, when they were kids, they just really connected to it. And I've always had kind of a weird, I haven't been comfortable with fans. I don't know what it was. Actually, when we were doing the show, like when we did Comic-Con a couple times, it's not just fans. I'm socially fairly awkward, I mean, and I wasn't great at fan interaction, but as I got older, I was more comfortable, and people would come up and say, "Hey, man, that show was great," and then they would talk about episodes, and they would talk about my relationship with Paul, and you just could tell that it really meant a lot to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand it because again, you guys, I hadn't really rewatched it until like 9 months ago, and like I didn't know what we made. I hadn't seen it.
Wow.
I obviously helped make it, but I didn't understand it, so I got to kind of watch it as a fan, and I can see why I connected with people, and I think a lot of it had to do with my relationship with Hobbs.
Oh yeah, yeah. You guys were wonderful together. It was a really good core of actors. You all bounced off each other quite well, um, even as things progress.
Oh my
I
God,
can't.
Eddie was incredible, and Shannon was incredible. Joel Bissonette was incredible. How's that guy doing? Does anybody know what he's doing? Should we? Is he? Is
Oh,
I
he'd
I
be fun. Little
I
prick,
seen a few things on his
yeah,
little prick,
IMDb, but
little prick, little prick.
yeah, he was good. He was incredible.
Remember that little prick line? He'd give
But
you a little.
Paul, Paul gets fit. No one do people ever talk to you about Invisible Man, or is it other stuff?
Yes, not a lot, but there's been times, and there was some Europeans which I liked, like a couple of French guys, which is why I said it last time. The French, it was, yeah, some a couple of times some French people said, "Oh, the show was fantastique, c'est
No,
fantastique."
that happened to me. I was doing a movie in Romania. I got off the plane, and the show must have just started airing there. I don't know,
No,
and it was huge. Like the people, it was.
When was it?
I think that was like, I think it was like 2009.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it was later.
oh, and it just come out there. Yeah,
There,
interesting.
there was I went to a wedding in France. My wife's brother got married in France in 2000, and I get in there, and they have all like the show's airing, and they
Oh,
are all just starstruck with me,
wow,
and they're like, Hébert, Hébert, like,
Oh, that's
and they
really?
were
great.
so, and they showed me the video, and it was all dubbed, and my character's voice was so much deeper voiced. I'm like, oh my God, it was, but it's so wild to see that. It was so, the culture impact we don't know, but it spreads out and it resonates with people.
Well, wasn't it in a billion countries all over the planet at one point when it hot? Wasn't it like really popular in many countries?
yeah.
I think so.
I personally, I'd always heard it was really big in Brazil. I know that I had spoken to one gentleman who he's a physical media collector, and he was happy because the physical DVD version in Brazil was dubbed in Portuguese. And it was not something that happened all the time. A lot of times, he would get physical media for like Western films, and it would just be subtitles. But they took the time to actually dub it in Portuguese.
We don't
So,
even know stuff. Crazy.
yeah.
I did know that it was big in France though, because I remember doing quite a bit of French press. There were French reporters in Los
Uh-huh.
Angeles.
Yeah.
And I got they showed me the magazines with Lays.
It's you and Jerry
Lays-
Oh
Lewis.
yeah,
Exactly.
Le Invisible Homme. That's right. It's like
Exactly.
yeah.
Something.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna go and you got me. You got we got the entry third act. That was
All
fun
right.
though.
All right, Paulie. Thank you for showing up, buddy.
Of course, of course.
45 more, Paul. That's all.
What's that?
45 more episodes.
I'll hang with you guys anytime. All right. Talk to you
All right,
real
man.
soon. Vinny,
Peace, dude.
call me. Give me updates. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
And thanks, Paul, for being here. It was really really great, talking to you and getting your view on the episode. But guys, this has been fun. This has been a really good one. And I are we gonna try and do this weekly? Or are we gonna try and do this over 46
I would.
weeks?
I'm. What do you think? I'm
I'm,
down.
we're-
Let's keep
yeah,
on plugging them out. I mean, it's if we can keep up the tempo, people will keep on showing up. The audience will grow, live forever.
If we build it, they will come.
And maybe I'll see if somebody. What are we doing next? Would it be Katavari?
Katavari would be next. Yes.
All right, you guys. This is great, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to y'all later.
All right. See you later.